Hello crafters, I'm Jan B and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today's video is video 3 in a series of 3. First video was I showed you how to make some gift tags using the Snowman. Second video I showed you how to make some greeting cards using the reindeer and the snowman. And today I'm showing you how to make a box to hold both, so it makes a really lovely gift for somebody. This is one of the boxes that I've made. So this one, I want to show you how the box looks with 3 different types of designs. Now this one is largely, there is no white in it, it's a solid pattern, something happening all the time over that. The next one I show you, there'll be a little bit of white in it, or medium amount of white, and the one we're doing today has largely white, so it's going to be mainly white, some white and no white. I know there's little dots there, but that's really classed as no white as far as I'm concerned. So what I've done is I have covered all sides and I have covered the ribbon. Okay, the ribbon is actually round all the way round, but I have concealed it. The one that is medium amount of white is this one, and this is the first one I did because I didn't particularly like this design. But as soon as I made the box, I was absolutely, totally in love with it. I think that is just gorgeous. I love that. I think this will probably be my favourite because this, I like this. In fact, I love this design, but I think it's possibly a little bit heavy. And I think the one that's mainly white is going to be too white. But I'm doing all 3 so that you can make up your own mind. Now, as I say, the ribbon goes all the way round. It's a pizza box, so I've put a little finger notch there, and you open it up, and inside 2 sections, one for your gift tags. I was hoping to have got all 5 made for the video, but I still got 3 to do. But these are the 5 cards, and as you can see, they are got quite a lot of dimension between them. Okay. So the box is really quite big enough for that. And then we have 5 envelopes as well. Yeah, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the box is really comfortably big enough for this, which means if you did less embellishments, you could get more cards in. Or if you did this size and you didn't have the embellishments and you felt that it looked a bit empty, what I would suggest you do is just get some tissue paper and wrap these cards in tissue, because that will bulk it up a bit. And likewise I would do that with that side as well. So that is it. I'm going to start off by telling you the card pieces that you need. Now when I did a test run of this earlier, the camera kept going out of focus when I showed the 2 large pieces, so I'm going to show them quickly and then move out if it goes blurred. So first of all, I have 2 pieces of real red cardstock which measure 7 3/4 inches by 12 inches. And I'm sorry I haven't done metric on this. I'm not a metric person and I wasn't confident enough to be able to do the calculations for the bits inside, because normally with centimetres I can actually work it back whether it will all fit in and everything, but there was just too much there, so I do apologise for that. Right, so the next piece you're going to need is a piece of real red cardstock which is 4 3/4 inches by 12 inches. Now I have adhered all these together because it is going to be a long video. So first of all, the Whisper White pieces is what I'm talking. So first of all, you need 2 pieces of Whisper White that measure 4 5/8 by 8 7/8, and then 2 pieces that are 1 3/8 by 8 7/8, and then 2 pieces that are 1 3/8 by 4 5/8 inches. All of this is inches. And then next for the Designer Series paper, this one is from All Things Bright. All Things Bright? I think so. These pieces measure 4 1/2 inches by 8 3/4 inches. These pieces here measure 1 1/4 inches by 8 3/4 inches, and these 2 pieces measure 1¼ inch by 4½ inches. So all of that DSP and that Whisper White, you need 2 pieces. And then you need 2 pieces of real red that measure 3 inches by 1 inches. And then you need 1 piece of Whisper White, which is 3½ inches by 3½ inches, and also a piece of real red that's 3½ inches by 3½ inches. And then you need 2 pieces of real red that measure approximately 2 by 3 inches, and 1 piece of sparkle glimmer paper, which is approximately 2 inches by 3 inches as well. Okay, a lot of cardstock here, but the box I think is really quite straightforward, and I have worked out how to put the strengthener in it, which I think really does help a lot. So the pieces that you need to score are these pieces here. So I'm going to bring the scoreboard up first. Obviously, if you prefer to use your trimmer, you can. I prefer my scoreboard. Now, one of these I have already scored, but these 2 largest pieces, you do both the same. So with the horizontal side, well, any side actually, you're going to score at 1½ inches on all 4 sides. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So both of those are done that size. The next long piece, this needs to be scored at 6½ inches, 8 inches and 9½ inches. And then these 2 little pieces, one I've already done, you need to score that at 1½ inches. Okay, so that's all the scoring you need to do. Let's put that down there out of the way. Now I'm going to work on the 2 big pieces first. And what we're going to do is we are going to cut up that line, that one and that one. Now when you're cutting on the edge that's against the sides of the box, which are these, cut a nice straight line and cut. You want to lose the scored bit. You don't want that on the side of your box. Okay, so cut this side of the score line. But when you come over here, you can do a mitre. So let me show you what I mean. Now I'm cutting against the side of the box, and I'm cutting right on the edge of the score line because I don't want it. And now I'm going on to the tab part and I'm cutting off a mitre. Okay, so that's what I've done on that one, and that's what I'm going to do on the other 3. So straight cut on this side so that I lose the scored line, and then I'm going a mitre to meet up with the top there. Turn it around the same again, straight line against the side of the box, which is this one, and then a mitre to take the rest of that score line off. Don't need that. And then the final one here. Cut straight against the box edge, and then a mitre. Oops, don't go too far. There we go. Okay, so that's what I have for this. Now we need to fold and score. So I tend to do all my main folds first, and then I go back to do my tabs. Okay, and when you do your tabs, make sure that you are lining up nice and straight with that edge down there. That way you'll make sure that you get a nice straight corner. Because this is going to be a pizza style box, the top lid is going to fit over the bottom, And as they've both been cut exactly the same size, you can't afford for this to be out. Okay, so if you make sure that's nice and straight there, you'll be fine. Now to adhere my box together, I'm going to be using Tombow. You can use your preferred method. I'm going to glue all 4 of my pieces and then stick them. You may rather do 2 on one side and then go to the other side. By the time you're doing your 3rd box, you're a bit more. In fact, this is the 4th, 5th one that I've done. First 2 didn't work out. Well, they did work out, but they weren't the right size. Okay, so I'm going to fold this up to make a really nice straight corner. And again, don't let this tilt backwards at all, otherwise you'll never get your lid to fit over it. And then this one, nice straight corner. Help Tombow to get a grip. Move round to the next one. And then the last one. Okay, so that's the base of our box. So we'll bring the other one in. Now on this side we're going to do exactly the same as what we did on that one. So we're going to cut up here and we're going to do a nice straight line against the side of the box, and then we're going to miter that out. Straight line on the side of the box side, and then a miter. Now the other side is a little bit different in as much as we're going to cut these 2 squares right out. So when you cut here, you want a nice straight line. When you cut here, you want a nice straight line. So when this bit hits the deck, you want all that score line to be on that bit. Okay? So we do a nice straight line. We take a nice straight line here. Okay, so that's off. Score line, not needed. Nice and clear. Now the same the other end. There we go. So we don't need those. Again, we're going to fold in our score lines. And then these, again, make sure they're nice and straight against the edge. Now we're going to stick these 2 pieces down again. Not again, I mean we're going to stick these down the same. Oops, done that a little bit close to the edge. I think I'm just going to wipe that a little bit, otherwise, now I did bring some tissue over. Oh, okay, let's take one of these tissues. This is real tissue. Right, I'm going to wipe some of that off, otherwise that's going to come oozing right out. That's better. Let's leave it over there in case I need it again. Right, now we're going to close these up exactly the same. Nice straight edge down here. And then a nice straight edge out there. Okay, so now if you fit your cornered edges over your box, slide it on, and then you should find that that will grip over like that. Okay, but before we do that, let's put our finger notch in, and I'm using a 1 inch punch, and what I'm going to do is I'm lining this up on my grid paper. Push this forward, there we go. Okay, so the dark line is number 8, and I know this has got to come on to 4.5, this has got to come on 12.5, therefore 8 is in the centre, and I'm just going to draw a pencil line so I know that that is the centre. Yep. We will need to go over this again. Now I only go, well, I go less than halfway on this, because if you come past halfway then the curve starts curving in again. Oops. Okay, so that's all right. Now we're going to attach this and this together. So what we need is, now you can use what you like along here. Mind you, I think probably Tombow is the best for this, because it's opening and closing. It's a box that can be used again and again, and it doesn't have to be used for cards and tags. The two sections, you could put something like a soap one side and a nice face cloth on the other side, or if you're buying somebody some jewellery, bracelet one side, necklace the other side. Right, now what you need to do is, once you've got your Tombow on there, fit the corners on first, and then make sure that it is fitting really nice and snug, and then bring this over. Okay, just make sure that's really comfy there. Now at the moment you can't actually do anything to make this adhere together properly. I have tried. If you open it too soon, the lid comes off, so not clever. So while I'm just giving that a couple of minutes to adhere itself, just going to do these two. Now first of all, I'm going to fold these two, make sure they're nice and straight as well, and then those two, and then we're going to do this one that has the 3 score lines in it. Now we're going to take the middle score line and we're going to fold that back. Make sure everything lines up, and then we're going to turn it over, and the first score line we're going to fold it that way, and then the third score line rather, we're going to fold that like that as well. So you will finish up with that to go inside your box. Okay, so let's just get back to this. It should be dry enough. Right, okay. It's dry enough to hold, so now you can give it some pressure to make sure it does adhere down properly. Right, okay. Now we are going to work on this. Now what's going to happen is we're going to adhere these two pieces in here, and then we are going to adhere the side bits, these bits here, against the wall of the box. It gives it stability, and also it stops this moving backwards and forwards. So what you need to do is, you've got them mounted like that. If you put your tabs in like that and hold them in place. Okay, so you've got to glue it on the reverse side. So you've got to have the valley in the middle and the two mountains on the side, and it's going to be near the long side. Okay, so what you need to do is, right, we need to glue on these two and stick them onto here. It doesn't matter whether you put them at the top or at the bottom or in the middle, it's your choice totally. One of mine I put right at the top. I was going to put the second one right on the top, but I obviously wasn't paying attention. So, well, there you go. I've got, what, about 1/4 of an inch there, 1/8 of an inch. So as long as I do the other side about the same, I'm happy. So just fold that one over. It's a bit higher than that one, but that's okay. Now what we're going to do is to glue these two together. Doesn't matter so much if the glue leaks on this side, because we'll be putting glue all over that side shortly. Okay, so give that a good pressing so that Tombow does its job. Okay, so you've got that now. If you prefer to put yours that way, you can do, but if you do it that way, you'll find that it'll overlap on top of the corner of the box. Okay, you'll see that it'll overlap that bit there. So what I'm going to do now is, in fact, I should have checked actually that this does actually go in, just in case I hadn't cut it incorrectly. But yes, that's all right. Okay, I think I prefer to put the glue on this. You could put it on the bottom of the box if you'd rather. And it doesn't have to be glued all over either. Right, I'm going to do mine that way because that's how I've been doing all of them. Okay, and then just use your bone folder to make sure it all goes down nicely. Let's just pop the lid onto that. The bone folder that I'm using at the moment is a Teflon bone folder, and the beauty of this is you can use it on here like that and it doesn't leave marks, whereas this one does. I don't use that one all the time because I don't find it as comfortable as using this. Right, so now what we need to do is these little tabs in here, we need to put glue on them and then stick them on the sides. Okay. And then just stand that up so that it's looks straight. And adhere it to the sides. I'm just pushing the back here with my fingers. Okay, so that gives it a really good grip Okay, and it makes the box feel a bit more solid. And I have also found on this one that these sides don't stick out so much. Normally on a pizza box those bits stand out a lot, which is one of the things I don't like about them. But on all of these are quite well in, so I'm pleased about that. I can only assume it's because I've done this. I don't know. Right, now the next thing I'm going to do is the ribbon, and I'm using our cotton, yes, cotton ribbon, and I think I'll take about 23 inches, that's 16, yeah, that's about it. I haven't decided how short I'm going to cut mine on those other two boxes yet. I doubt if I will cut them very short, because I do want them to be usable rather, opened and closed many times without damage to the box. Right, again, I'm wrapping this around, and I've got the two ends together to make sure that it is nice and tight there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to put my fingers there, let go, and then hold my finger onto that one, fold this back, bring my mat over, and then I'm just going to use a little bit of snail on a little bit of the ribbon, not too much, so that I can bring that back over and it will hold in place. Now I'm going to do the same to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to make sure the two line up there. Okay, and then have a look at this end as well, make sure it looks as if it's coming over straight. That looks better. Right, so now I'm holding that bit there, bring my silicone mat so that I can just add a little bit of ribbon, and then adhere that down. The silicone mat isn't imperative, because if you get glue on that, it doesn't matter because it can be covered up, but if you turn your box over and put it down, forgetting that you've got that there, you could finish up getting it stuck to whatever you're working on. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to adhere all these pieces, and this is where you will notice you'll get a little bump here, but it really is not much of a bump. Okay, let me show you. I've done two takes on this, so I don't remember whether it was this take or the first one where I showed the bumps, but there is a little bump there because the ribbon is coming through underneath. If I can just show you, it really is very, very slight, so I don't know whether you can see it. It certainly doesn't worry me, because I don't think it is enough to worry about. Now what I've done on this is I've still put my tape on the back. I just find it does give me that extra little bit of time. I will still put Tombow in the middle because I want it anchored all the way down, but for the actual positioning the tape does help. Right, let's put some glue first. Of course I don't have to worry too much about the glue because I know my edges are going to be stuck down properly. Right. Right, now before that dries, pull off the tape. Oops, that's what's been happening to me. Right, so pull this one gently, otherwise it's going to not stick somewhere. That's better. And just do the one across the top. And that one, the tape has actually come over the edge. Just fold that back on itself. There we go. So let's do this side. Like that. There we go. So now we do the rest, and these I haven't bothered putting tape on. I do think it's worth the effort of covering all sides of your box. It does make it look and feel far more professional. There we go, that's that one. Oh yeah. Oh, I never thought about that, did I? Leaving that one open and tearing it, tying it over. Have I? Oh yes, I did. That has happened purely by accident. I didn't think about where I was actually putting the ribbon. I thought I was going to actually glue it down like that. Whilst we were thinking about it, I couldn't have done because I've got to repunch the finger notches once this bit's on. Okay, so that's that. Now these two pieces. And then the last one. These would make fantastic gifts for people. Obviously you'd need to give it to them before Christmas, like if you're seeing people rather than handing if you're seeing people before and you're not actually seeing them at Christmas, and also people like teachers and such like. And if you do craft fairs, great item for selling. So there we go, one completely covered box. Doesn't that look lovely? Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to do the finger notch in here, and this is a little bit awkward because you've got to line that up in there. I wonder if I can do it facing me, not tried that way. Oh, this is probably the easiest way. So what you need to do is you need, let's rest that against me. Okay. So you need to put the punch so you can see all of the white and I tend to do it so that I can see a teeny bit of the red as well, and then punch. Okay, so now that's all with your finger notch back again. Okay, so that's the box done. Now we need to do our embellishments. So what I'm going to do here, again, something else I did in ahead of time is I did these two. This you'll see how it's made in video 1, and this is in video 2. So what we need to do is we need 2 ovals. I've done one ahead of time. That is also going to be an oval. That's going to be a scalloped circle, and this is for my stamping. The stamp set I'm using is called Snowflake Sentiments. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to add that one, and I'm going to add that as well. I'll bring it back so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so it's going to be the big greeting there, and then the little one there, and that little decoration. So to do that, I use my Stampin' Majig. So that's 1 stamp, 2 stamps, and 3 stamps. That's my Stampin' Majig handle, and my plastic sheet. Okay, so I'll show you why I find it so handy using this. Now, first of all, that guides me to make sure I get it in the centre. I'm not unduly bothered that it's straight because we're going to be die cutting it with a circle, but as long as the gap is the same either side, and that's the same, I think it needs to go up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put my Stampin' Majig tool on top, and I am going to be using real red ink for this one, and the other one I'm using is Call Me Clover. Right, Season's Greetings. Okay, so that's that one done. Move that up there, out of the way. Now, because I've got my, let's put this way first, because I've got my Stampin' Majig already set up, I have to stop and think when I'm opening up these stamp sets, which way does this one open? Right. Now, with the little sentiment there, which says, "May the miracle Christmas fill your heart with joy," I can put this and see where I want it to go. Now, all of them so far, I have put them down here because it fits in the circle nicely. You see? But it would actually fit up there. But I'm not going to do that because I think it might unbalance it. I'd quite like to see what it looks like, but I don't have time to mess about like that. Right, so I know this has got to, that F has got to come down by the tail, and I'm making sure that that line is straight with that line. I'll put this on again. Oops, I moved it. Right, by the G and straight. Right, hold that tight. Get my sentiment up the right way. That's it. I think that's a little bit crooked, isn't it? Oh, not really. Okay, so the last one I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that into here. I think that's probably about halfway. I'm going to put my Stampin' jig tool back in place again. There we go. Could have been with a bit done with being a bit higher, but that's okay. I'm not going to worry too much about that. Right, so let's move these out of the way. Don't want to get green ink on everything. Right, so I'm going to bring my Big Shot up now. Right, so that's all of those bits. Right, so the dies I'm using. First of all, I'm using stitched shaped framelits, number 4 on the round ones for that. For this one, I am using number 8, which is the largest scallop. No, not you. And number 5 on the layering ovals, which is that one down there. Okay, so let's get ourselves sorted out here. First of all, the sentiment. Okay, that'll be fine. This one. And one oval. If your dies decide to jump when you're trying to place them, follow the die. Don't try and make the die behave itself, because it won't. Once it gets it in its mind to jump, it will jump. Oh, like this one. I don't know how I did it, but I bent that. But it still works. Oh, I think that one might have been a bit too low. I'm not sure that would have cut properly. Yeah, that's fine. Surprises me. I didn't think my mat, the cutting mat, was on it enough. Okay, so that's the sentiment. That's my scalloped circle. That's my other red oval, and I also need a glimmer, sparkle, isn't it? Mine is actually dazzling diamonds, because I've still got quite a lot of it. I'm probably over generous with it, but I think it's great, so I do tend to use a lot of it. And I bought quite a stock, so I will use it until it's all gone. Right, there we go. So that's that one. And I think that's all the die cutting I need to do. So I'm going to pop this back again. Now, what I do with this, first of all, we do the easy bit. That's popping that onto there. Now, both of these are going to have snow at the bottom of them. Let's see if I can just pop this into shot for you. Okay, right, now what I do is I just take my scissors and I cut this one in half, approximately. I don't measure it. And then you would have seen in the other videos how I cut this, or at least tear it. I start with a little cut like that and then tear it towards me, but always with the non-glimmer side facing me. And the reason is so that I get the torn edge at the back. And I'm going to do the same to this. And smooth side towards me. I did consider just tearing the complete oval in half, but of course that wouldn't work because one half would have the torn side on it. So I do them separately, and I always try and get the snowman one with less snow because he's all snow, whereas the reindeer, he needs a bit more, I think. That's just my way of thinking. You could think that I'm absolutely potty for thinking that way, but that's fine. Right, now glue these. And adhere them at the bottom here. I do recommend you check it from the back as well. Okay, so there's that one. I feel like I'm making Easter eggs here. Should be a chick coming out. There we go, so that's that. Now to adhere these, it's exactly the same as what I did with the cards and the tags. Part of it is using glue dots and part of it is using dimensionals. So for the snowman first, he gets one large dimensional behind his head and he gets one small one on his mitten. And then he gets 3 glue dots along the bottom, and do make sure that the glue dots come as close to the bottom as you can get them. And put one on the other mitten. Okay. So just pop him in the centre. In fact, he could have had a dimensional on that one as well. I've obviously done him a lot higher. Never mind. So this one has 2 little ones up there. In fact, you can have a third one, I think. And then for glue dots, you have one on either feet. One on either feet, one on either foot, and then one on your tummy. Okay. So pop him in the centre. And then we're going to put glue dimensionals on the back here. They can have 2 big ones and 2 small ones. And then this one, we will have just big ones. Normally works out to be 5 going around the circle and then 1 in the centre. Okay, so where's the box gone? Okay, so you know where the centre is because you can see your ribbon coming out here. Right, that's all of them. So just pop it in the centre. And straightish. That's it. And then we put these on. This was the only designer series paper that had the same red and green as I've used on the Snowman and the reindeer, actually, I suppose. Not just this design, but this pack. I think that looks equal. And the final touch, my rhinestones, because it's such a big sentiment, I use 5. There we go. So there you go, there's the box to go with the third sentiment. Just one final thing, when I tie the ribbon, what I tend to do is I tend to tie it so the knot is right near the top there. Okay, I don't know what the secret of tying it so that it stays horizontal. 9 times out of 10 it goes vertical, which is logic to me, but occasionally I'm able to get it to stay, no, vertical this time. But there we go. I haven't decided on what length I want my ribbons, but a decision will be made sometime. So there's that one, and that one. Let me know which you prefer. Lots of white, a little white, or no white. Okay, so there we go. Can't get them all in the screen, I'm afraid, but I hope you've enjoyed this series of 3 videos, and I hope you enjoyed the gift that you finish up with. If you have any questions, please leave them in the box below the video. I'm always happy to help. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, there'll be a link to my 24/7 shop in the box below the video. Also in the box below the video will be all the measurements and the products that I've used. And if you've enjoyed my video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, which is normally Wednesdays and Sundays, please click on the subscribe button. And also after that, I believe there's a bell that you have to tick to make sure that you get the notifications. I'd appreciate that. And finally, if you feel like giving me a thumbs up, that'd be brilliant. Many thanks. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.